Good morning, students. Today I will explain English literature, lesson number 1, The New House by John Boyne. Let's get some information about the writer first. John Boyne is an Irish literature. He's a famous modern day novelist who writes the novel for both young and adult readers. He was born on 30th April 1971 in Dublin, Ireland, and he took to writing when he was just 12 years old. To pursue writing, Boyne joined the Trinity College in Dublin, where he majored in English literature. He further studied creative writing at the Distinguished Institute, the University of East Anglia in Norwich. He was awarded the Curtis Brown Prize for his contribution in literature. When Boyne was 21 years old, he debuted with the story Entertainment's Jar. It was published in the Sunday Tribune. Around 70 of his short stories were published. Then Boyne explored adult fiction writing. In 2000, his first adult fiction novel titled The Thief of Time was published. Three other novels soon followed: The Congress of Rough Riders, which was published in 2001, Creepin in 2004, and Next of Kin in 2006. During 2006, Boyne became interested in children's writing and published The Boy in Stripped Pajamas. The novel became his masterpiece as it sold more than 6 million copies worldwide and established Boyne as a children's writer. The book was also made into a feature film. Boyne went on to pen 4 more popular children books. More details I have mentioned it below. Today we are going to talk about The Boy in the Stripped Pajama, the novel which Boyne wrote, The Boy in the Stripped Pajama. So our lesson number 1, The New House, is the story from this novel, The Boy in the Stripped Pajama. Now, before we start the lesson, I want to ask you a question. If you had to suddenly move house or vacant your house and go to a new one, what are the 3 things you would miss most? You can answer them to my personal number. I will tell you what I would miss the most. I would miss the familiarity of the place I was living. Then I would miss my friends and a bond I had with the house. So these are the 3 things which I personally would miss if I had to move the house and go to a new one. Now let's talk about the characters of the story from the novel A Boy in the Stripped Pajama. So these are the characters in the story. So the main character is Bruno, who is a 9 years old boy. Okay, so Bruno had to leave his house in Berlin and he had to move to a new house along with his parents. So the characters Bruno, who is 9 years old, Bruno's parent. Bruno's parents are Bruno's father, who is a commandant. Commandant means a commanding officer in Germany army during World War II. So he is a commanding officer, okay, in German army during World War II. Then Bruno's mother, she seems to be a housewife. Then the next character is Bruno's sister. Her name is Gretel. She is 12 years old. And Maria, who is a house help, or we can call her a maid. Okay, so these are the main characters in the story. The characters are Bruno, Bruno's parents, which includes his father, who is a commandant, means a commanding officer, Bruno's mother, Bruno's sister named Gretel, and Maria, who is a house help. Now, as soon as Bruno saw their new house, his eyes were wide open, his mouth made the shape of an O, and his arms stretched out his sides. So now Bruno shifted with his family from Berlin, and now he came to his new house. As soon as he sees his house, these are the some of the reactions which can be seen on his face. What are the reactions? We can see that his eyes were wide open, okay, and his mouth made a shape of an O, and his arms stretched out his sides. So these are some of the phrases described by the writer, which describes the surprise. Okay, here Bruno is totally surprised by seeing the new house. Everything about the new house seemed to be just the opposite, and he could not believe that he was going to live there. So after seeing the new house, Bruno came to a conclusion that everything whatever he saw was just the opposite, okay, and he could not believe himself that now he is going to live there. Bruno recollects or remembers some good things about the house at Berlin. These are some of the good points or good things that the house of Berlin had. What are they? It stood on a quiet street, and alongside there was a handful of other houses like his own. His house looked nice. Even other boys also stayed nearby his house, who could be his friends, right? Berlin's house was enormous. Enormous means it was very large. There were even whole rooms, um, such as father's office, and he had been barely inside it. Uh, Bruno stayed at Berlin in that old house for around 9 years, but still had not explored the whole house. In comparison, new house, it stood alone in an empty, desolate place. So here you can see that Bruno is at the first sight of the house, of the new house. He is trying to compare the old house with the new one, and he is not at all happy with the new house. Okay, he finds that old house was much better than the new one. Now the new house, it had 3 floors. The top floor, it consisted of 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The ground floor consists of a kitchen, a dining room, and a new office for father. There were 3 more helpers along with uh, Maria at the new house, who could look after various other works, including cooking. So now, as soon as they shifted to the new house, they have 3 more other workers along with Maria to look after the house. Okay, so they used to look after various works, including cooking. So now here, Bruno, he is telling his mother that it is better for them to go back to their home, means the old home at Berlin. He suggests his mom to tell dad that she had changed her mind and could not stay here, and could stay here for the day, sleep here tonight, and leave for their house at Berlin the next day. So now Bruno is trying to convince his mother that she should talk with dad, means the father of Bruno, and make him understand that they must go back and stay at their old house at Berlin. Okay. Then Bruno's mother, she tells him to go upstairs and help Maria to unpack. Okay, Bruno's mother is sure that they have to stay here only now, and she is suggesting Bruno that he must go and help Maria in unpacking the bags. But no, Bruno, again, he tries to convince his mom and to stay here. But now, listening to all this, Bruno's mother, she gets angry and she talks in an unfriendly manner and tells him to go and help Maria to unpack the bag. So Bruno goes to Maria and tells her that mom sent him for a help. Maria asks him to unpack a bag which contained socks, vests, and underpants and put them in the chest of drawers. Meanwhile, Bruno conversates with Maria and asks her that don't you feel that everything is going wrong? So now, after trying to convince mom, Bruno is trying to talk with Maria and wants to clear his thoughts that he finds everything wrong in this new house. So what is Maria replying? Maria says, I am not the one to answer. Whether it is right or wrong, I don't know. I can't give any answer to what you are saying. We shifted here because of your father's job. So Maria replied, why are we here? We shifted here because of your father's work. Okay, we left our house and we came to the new house because of your father's job. Your father got a transfer, and because of that only we got shifted to this new house. So Bruno says, I am tired of hearing about father's job. Okay, to whomever I go and say that we should go back to our house, old house, we should stay at Berlin, everyone says that we have to stay here only because of father's job. We don't have any other option. So Bruno is saying that if father's job means that we have to move away from our house and my three best friends, I think father should think twice about this job. Suddenly, Bruno hears a creak sound of a door, and Bruno thinks that father must have heard what he had said and he was expecting a good scolding from his father. So when Bruno was saying all these things to Maria that father should think twice before accepting this job and he should not, because of father, why should the other family members leave their home, and this all was the suggestion that Bruno was giving to Maria, right? Suddenly he heard the creak sound of the door, that means someone opened the door. So Bruno was thinking it may be Bruno's father and maybe he must have heard what Bruno said to Maria, right? And if Bruno's father had heard what he had said, then he was expecting a good scolding from his father. Bruno steps to the door to see, and he found that it was not his father, but another young man who wore the same type of uniform as his father. So Bruno did not like the person as he had a serious face. So now here Bruno tried to step out of the door and to check who was at the door, okay, who opened the door, and he finds out that it was not his father, but it was someone. It was another young man, okay, and he was wearing just the same kind of uniform as his father wears. So Bruno noticed that this young person, he also had a serious face. So because of that, Bruno did not like this person. Now, Bruno thought of exploring the house to find something interesting. He found out a window. At last, he found out a window in the ceiling that stretched down into the wall. Okay, so now he's getting bored in the house. He don't want to stay even for a second at this new house. Okay, at the back of the mind, he just wants to go back to the house at Berlin, right? So here he now made himself convinced that anyhow, because of father's job, he has to stay here only. So let's go and explore something new. So what he explored that uh, he explored a window in the ceiling that stretched down into the wall. So he walked towards the window, and he started hoping that this way might lead him back to his old house. So through the window he could see a way. Okay, and seeing that way, he was thinking that this way could lead him back to the to his old house. So here we can see how desperately Bruno wants to go back to his house in Berlin. So it happens that children like Bruno have to leave their favorite place and move to an unknown place because of their parents' work or job. So this story, which is the part of this, uh, the novel written by John Bay, right? This story resembles to all of those children, okay, who had to leave their favorite place and go to a new place because of their fathers or their parents' work or job. Okay, I hope you understand the story. Now, what we have here is we have some MCQ based questions. You have to choose the answers as directed. Right? You have to read the question based on the explanation I have given. You can choose the answer. There are 5 choose the correct answer questions. You can do it in the textbook for now, for the time being, and when I send the answers you can copy it down in your classwork. Then next is reference to context. The answers for this reference to context I will send you soon. Meanwhile, after understanding the chapter, you can try to answer the questions by yourself orally. And then after MCQs and reference to context, we have antonyms. These antonyms answers will be given to you. Then we have word wise. I think we have to match this. So these answers will also be given to you in the word format. Okay. Let's see if we can solve it right now. Automat. So automat, it means machines. Okay. Automat, it means machines. Then kindergarten. It is the grade before the first grade. Then plunder, take goods by force. Then rucksack, it is backpack. Waltz, it's a formal dance. And then dachshund, it is a breed of dog. And Uber, it is outstanding or supreme. Okay, these answers will be also given in the answer, and which will be in the word format. Then next is grammar time. Based on the earlier learnings from your previous classes, you must have learned about nouns, right? What is a noun? Noun is the name of a person, place, animal, thing, right? And here the kinds of nouns are mentioned: proper, common, concrete, abstract, collective, and material. So here they have given you a example. So here you can see one girl, she's reading a newspaper. So based on that, you have to frame some sentences, right? And then you have to, from that sentence itself, you have to find out proper noun, common noun, concrete noun, abstract noun, collective noun, and material noun. So you can read this and you can try to solve the remaining ones seeing the picture. Okay, you have to frame the sentence by seeing these pictures. Okay, there are four such pictures and you have to find out the kinds of noun. Then next is articles, right? So what are articles? Are words placed before nouns to show whether the nouns are used in a particular or a general sense. So articles are of two types, that is definite and indefinite, right? A definite, the is the, that is definite, and a or an, it falls under indefinite articles. So here are some of the examples have been mentioned. Go through it. Then here you can see you have to fill in the blanks. Okay, uh, with a or an or the, and leave the space blank if no articles is needed. If there is no if in the following, if article is not needed, then you can leave the space. Okay, then next is pronunciation. The remaining things can be finished once the school reopens. Okay, I hope the lesson is clear to you. What all things I told you of the noun and the article, okay, that thing has to be done using a pencil in your textbook itself. And once you complete it, you can send, take the picture and you can send it to my personal number. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.